strap yourself in for either A, a very long video, or B, a slightly shorter review than normal. So, there's quite a few things I want to discuss, because the reason why this review of Tokyo Ghoul Chapter 37 is so late is because of some of the things I had to research, look up, confirm, and then reread the chapter, a good 3 to 4 times just to make sure I got a grasp of it. And I even went back to read chapters from part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul just to see if some of this information lined up and just to see, the actual emotions the characters had at that given point. So, this chapter review, like I said, it's either A, going to be very fucking long, or B, it's just going to be very short. We'll see. We'll cover that road when we get there. So, I want to start off, as per usual, using my tablet. I want to be starting from page to page, breaking down the chapter from page to page, talking about the emotions of the characters to many different things that are going on. And so, there is tarot cards in this chapter. I want to clarify right now. There is 2 tarot cards I know of, and there is a possibility of a 3rd tarot card, and I discovered this 3rd tarot card, and I read the tarot card, I looked at the meaning of this moment, and I looked back at the character, and it really suits what that tarot card meaning is for this chapter. So, take it how you leave it. If you agree with my tarot card, what I said, let me know in the comments, but I'll mention it very soon. I'll go over all the different things I've researched. So, first page of Tokyo Ghoul starts off where the last chapter left us on. We get to see, back at the cafe to where, bread is being made, and Kosaka is delivering them bread and drinks. So, the first page, it's very misleading. And this is what I didn't realize until I read it a couple times. Like, after I reread the chapter a couple times, went back to reread and stuff, then I noticed something very funky about this first page of Tokyo Ghoul. So, right at the bat, we're starting with a tarot card, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck, Chibi? Like, the bread, okay? Let me explain. Let me explain where I'm going with this, okay? Ishida, as we know, he loves tarot cards. I don't think I need to even say the backstory to that. He loves tarot cards, and we have seen glimpses of him trying to hide tarot cards, with the reverse hangman. We saw that. And so, Ishida does use things that are not necessarily numbers. He will use stuff that's not numbers to represent a tarot card. And when you have a panel, like a specific panel in Tokyo Ghoul, that doesn't seem to be very vital, like it's a panel that shows maybe a flower, you could probably pull out a lot of symbolism from that one panel and understand what the real meaning of this chapter is, or probably future chapters of Tokyo Ghoul. And so that's why I usually pay attention I pay attention a lot to chapters panels, because if there's a panel that seems like kind of just there to be there, like fluff, I'm like, nah, there probably is something else going on here. So the first page, as you're probably wondering, it has to focus around the food. You see 3 different types of bread, but actually there's, 5 breads sitting on this tray. And then underneath that, you see 3 drinks. And so let's point this out where I'm going with this. If you count this all up, this is 8. And so I actually, in my just joking around, I decided to see, tarot card number 8 and just look it up, because I don't know much about tarot cards. I don't. And so I looked up tarot card number 8, and I just did my personal research, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, so let's, look at tarot card number 8, see if, this bread and then these drinks added together actually mean something. So, this was just me just joking around, just doing it. And when I got to the tarot card, it fucking freaked me out, because this is what I read, because I've never read this tarot card before, and then until I read it, I'm like, dude, this goes so much with what was going on at the beginning of this chapter. The Strength tarot card number 8. Under a golden sky, a woman gently pats a lion on its forehead and lower jaw. The lion can represent the monster of CCG that is a rank 1 sitting in that cafe right now and delivering them breads. He is the lion. So, if you think about it, Kosaka is giving the lion bread, like patting him. Think about that for a second, okay? That just, remember, a lot of symbolism. Okay, after the jaw, okay, the woman gazes down at the lion with a peaceful smile. Kosaka smiles. Last chapter, she gazes down, smiles. Even in this chapter, she smiles. She gazes down at this beast with a smile on her face and appears to be successfully taming this wild beast. The fact that strength is represented by a woman indicates that this card is not focused on pure physical strength. Think about that one. She has the infinity symbol above her head, the same symbol seen in the Magician. Her white robe is that of an innocent fool, indicating a purity of spirit. Now getting into the meaning of the upright Strength Tarot card. The Strength Tarot card represents strength, determination, and power in a manner similar to the Chariot. However, the differences between the two tarot cards are obvious. Where the Chariot represents outer strength and will, the Strength card represents inner strength. Kosuka is a woman, and from first glance, she seems very frail, weak. And the chapter represents this meaning so well because she has this inner strength about her to deal with so many different issues. Like, let's, go to the page of Tokyo Ghoul for I can tell you exactly what I'm getting at. So, let me go to the page, let me load the pages up for I can talk to you what I meant about the inner strength and how this represents, Kosuka in this chapter. So, okay, here it is. She's talking about her past and how she met Kurdo Iwa, and she also tells more about her past about how she was kind of weak and she's not really athletic. Getting into the backstory, it shows her running in a relay, and she falls down, and this represents that she doesn't have outer physical strength, which goes along with the Strength Tarot card, if you get what I'm saying. She doesn't have this outward strength like an athlete, but she has this inner strength that can shine. She shined for Toka in dark times. Think about this. She has an inner strength. She pulled herself up and continued moving forward after she fell in this relay, and she got their team in the last place. And this is a perfect example. This tarot card 8 popped up at a perfect time to represent her character. So, I feel like in these first couple of pages, what the real thing you can pull out of, the first 3 to 4 pages with this, Kosuka and Kurdo, theme part of the chapter, you can get that Kosuka and Kurdo can be shipped together. They can be shipped together, and also Kosuka is going to try to be working for the cafe that Toka is in. She wants to make bread for them. That was also hinted in the chapter. She wants to go to their cafe and make some bread for them, an original bread. And I think the reason why that Kosuka wants to make bread for Toka in the cafe, not just because they're friends, but if you think about it from part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, which I went back to check myself, usually it's always Toka eating bread in front of Kosuka when they were in school. Think about it for a second. Toka was always eating bread in front because, she's a ghoul, but, she had to fake eating. And so, I think this is what really drove her, Kosuka, to actually make bread, or try to make bread and go to the cafe to make bread, because that's what her best friend always ate. Get my drift? So, that probably explains her motive of why she chose this route instead of becoming a chef, and why she's now just baking bread. So, yeah. Now that I've explained that, I think I've covered that pretty decently. We have it to where Kosuka is going to be trying to go to the cafe, eventually, possible foreshadowing for the future. You have it to where they're set up for some form of romance between Kurdo and Kosuka and their relationship in the future. You also have it to where Kosuka gets the Strength Tarot card for inner strength because she has this inner strength about her, and she doesn't have this physical strength since the athlete situation, this first part of the chapter, represents that card so damn well. So now that I've covered that, we can move on to other things to actually discuss. So, I'm on page 5 right now. Okay, we're still talking about her backstory. Let's see. Oh yeah, we talk about how Kuro is very, very strong and how impressive he is at his age. Because normally when it comes to investigators, they don't reach Kuro's rank until they're age 27. And we know he's not that old. He's definitely not that old. And to reach the rank that he's currently at, he got it at a very young age. Usually it takes till you're 27 to even reach something like that. So this chapter goes to confirm just how impressive Kuro is as a fighter, and also how he wrecked that clown so fucking bad when he snapped her damn neck with his bare hands. You remember that? So, yeah, that kind of explains quite a bit. So now that we can move past that, and the possible foreshadowing of Kosuka, let's see, we are going to get into the Ude. Okay, now this is the part I want to talk about, because this actually required a lot of research on this Ure part. There was 2 tarot cards at fucking once assigned to Ure. Now, it's not permanently assigned. Let me just clarify this, because there's some that always think when I'm talking about tarot cards on a specific character that this tarot card is going to be with that character for the remainder of the series. Tarot cards are designed to just give possible future outcomes, and it assigns these characters just to represent the themes of the chapter and what may happen in upcoming chapters. So that's kind of what these tarot cards mean. It doesn't mean that it's their card altogether. For instance, if they got, like Death 13, doesn't mean they're Death 13. You get my point. It just means they got that because the tarot card suits that situation. So now that I've said that, let's talk about the 2 tarot cards that Ure got right off the fucking bat. As soon as you see Urei bench pressing, he's bench pressing fucking weights, you see an eye, and in the eye section, it says, this is it. And if you look closely under the eye, I'll zoom it in for you can see it for yourself. Here, I'll zoom it in. If you look at closely at the eye, you see an 18. Oh, here, I'll move the screen in case you guys can't see that because of the reflection. But there's an 18 right there, an 18. And that's tarot card number 18. Let me get to it before I can actually talk about it. Tarot card number 18. Gotta flip this before I can get to the page. Okay, tarot card number 18 is the Moon. The Moon tarot card. And I want to read a specific paragraph about this because it was actually something that shocked me with how this tarot card represents Urei. And I think some might miss this meaning because at first I only read the top and then I continued reading it almost to the bottom and I found something that made my mind explode. The Moon is a card of illusion and deception, and therefore often represents a time when something is not as it appears to be. Urei seems to be fine at this moment. He's getting stronger. Vigilance and clear perception will be necessary to find that which is hidden before it is too late. The Kakuho inside of Urei, slowly increasing the RC cell's pathways in his body. He's going to turn into a half ghoul. That's what that means. Let's see, clear perception necessary to find him before it's too late. Okay, if other cards in the reading are negative, I've already covered this once before in previous videos of Tokyo Ghoul. You check my playlist out. I've covered how Urei got a negative tarot card in the past of how he will be backstabbed most likely, maybe by Mutsuki. So, Urei's already got a tarot card under his belt, a negative tarot card. So let's get back to this meaning before I can reread what this actually means and why this blew my fucking mind. If other cards in the reading are negative, then the Moon shows that not all is as wonderful as you think, and there are still hidden forces at play that may unravel your success. So pretty much Urei got a negative card. And at this moment, all is not it seems as it appears. That's what this card represents. Since Urei already has some negative tarot cards under his belt after the surgery, because remember one was on his foot, what this means is that if he continues this path of what he's doing, of constantly increasing his body with his RC cells, you know, ripping his muscles and having his muscles repair, it's going to cause it to where he turns into a half ghoul before it's too late. This is what this card really tries to represent. Nothing is how it appears to be, like all is good and well. So Urei is going to go down a path to where he becomes a ghoul. So that's kind of what the Moon tarot card represents. Now getting into the other tarot card now. Now that I've covered that, that was just fucking one tarot card, okay? Let's get into the next tarot card. Right underneath that is this. Right underneath that fucking tarot card, you got an upside down 4. An upside down 4. So we're obviously dealing with a reverse 4 tarot card. Said and done. Upside down 4. I'm going to tilt the screen for you can see it, just in case you can't see it. Upside down 4 on his arm. And let's go to the meaning. Now, let me read the meaning before you think that I'm wrong or whatever. Let me just read the meaning. Since it's upside down, let me get to it. Okay, so the reverse, the Emperor, can suggest that there's an overuse and abuse of authority power surrounding you at this time. He can be incredibly demurring and rigid in his thinking. It could be originating from you or from another person, often a boss, partner, or father figure. There may be an insecure man throwing his weight around who has no need for control. Who has a need for control, Urei. You may feel powerless when the Emperor reverse appears in reading. Dealing with authority is brought with a lot of difficulties at this time, and whether this manifests as a dominant partner, problems with your father, or battles with officials, Satsuki, you do not seem to be making any headway. Freedom lies within such structures now. This is not the time to rebel. Instead, try to get in touch with your own need to control events and deal with any problems logically. Sometimes the Reverse Emperor asks you to stand up to authority and to know that you not always have to go about the matters in the most traditional way. You may be fed up with an overbearing boss, and you will be compelled to enter a more flexible and adaptive environment. What he's doing now, he's, training by himself. You may also be inspired to work independently, Urei. Perhaps even starting up your own business in order to be free of corporate life and oppressive bosses. So, what this card kind of represents is maybe Urei is going to try to get his own squad, and also how the Emperor has been attached to him, of how he feels in this chapter, how he still feels like he's being held down by everybody around him, like Sasuke and everybody else. So Urei still hasn't changed whatsoever. Typical Urei. So, that is the Emperor, Reverse Emperor Tarot card number 4 for Urei. So let's get back to the chapter. Now that we talked about this, I've talked about how Urei most likely is going to turn into a ghoul because of the Kakuho, and how his RC cells are spreading throughout his body. And since, Kaneki or Sasuke now, he was injured a lot in the past, the RC cells that spread out over all over his body increased it to where his body got stronger in those certain areas. And this made me start thinking about a lot of different things that really shocked me. So apparently, if a ghoul gets injured, like, it might be just on half ghouls, it might be just for half ghouls, but if a ghoul gets injured and RC cells spread throughout the body and go to a certain area to repair it, that means that that area grows stronger. And from what the dialogue represents, it could be a mistranslation. Obviously, easy mistranslation. But what it represents is the more you get hurt, the stronger you become. So, every time, like, let's say a ghoul gets cut down and, you know, they have to regrow a part of their body back and stuff. Like, you know how Sasuke or Kaneki got stabbed through the fucking eyeballs, and, you know, his head got stabbed. That might have made it to where it made his brain and his psychological condition a lot more powerful. Think about it. So, the RC cells increase the physical properties of certain areas or attributes of the body, and it makes them grow stronger. And that might explain why some ghouls are such heavy hitters. So now that we got that out of the way, that explains a lot about, you know, Kaneki and Sasuke, how he fucking wrecked a lot of shit in the past. We could talk about the clown situation with Mutsuki and Juzo. So Juzo and Mutsuki have a little conversation talking about, you know, the clowns and how they got the details, and then it eventually leads into what Sasuke is doing in this chapter, which I'll save for the last part of this chapter review. But I find it very funny how in this part of the pages, you see it to where Mutsuki and Juzo are talking together. They're just talking in a meeting, and then we see a character that is introduced, or kind of not already introduced, because he's been in the series for a while now, just, you know, kind of hiding in the shadows. It's very, I guess, weird how these two characters are together when you have it to where this dude pops up. So Sasuke's doing a little bit of training. He's training people in this school, this academy, okay? He's given training. And we come to find out why Mutsuki gives Sasuke the name Mr. Sasuke. Or I guess in Japan it would be called, I guess, Sasuke-san. That's probably what he is saying. And so, to see that, in a sense, we come to find out how people look at Sasuke. He's a very kind and compassionate trainer. He trains them and he's compassionate, and he's a good teacher. That's one thing we could pull out of this. But this leads into something I did not expect. We get to find out, finally, for the first time, who the fuck tortured Jason, and who Jason tortured. I thought it was Kijima. I thought it was. The way it was leading into it the past couple chapters with the chipper, I thought the chipper was going to be the torturer of Jason. Come to find out, no, that was incorrect. Completely incorrect. This dude that talks to Sasuke and is one of the people, his name is a second academy professor, specializes in combat, Tokage. Tokage was a person that worked in the ghoul prison, tortured Jason, tortured ghouls, and then eventually got his face peeled off, I'm guessing, by Jason, because his face is all peeled off, by Jason. And we already know how Jason was fucked up, and then, you know, how this dude must be fucked up, because let me explain. If you don't know this dude, let me refresh your memory. Tokage is a dude that pinned the issues of killing little animals on Juzo and Mutsuki. Now, it's not confirmed for Mutsuki, but you can assume, because Mutsuki was in this exact same academy as this dude. This dude killed little animals to satisfy his sadistic and fucked up ways. And then, eventually, the officials of the CCG pinned this issue on Juzo, as we know, from part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul. This dude right here probably pinned the psychological trauma onto Mutsuki, like, for instance, just saying, like, oh, Mutsuki killed these animals, or CCG covered it up. Maybe he didn't specifically do it, but CCG covered it up. And this leads to the question, why the fuck is the CCG trying to cover for this dude? Like, what the fuck is wrong with CCG? You're letting innocent students like Suzuya and Mutsuki being blamed for killing little animals, cats and dogs and shit around the campus, and then this dude gets off scot-free. What the fuck? So, Sasuke, I'm just gonna give you a word of advice. Get the fuck away from this dude. Get the fuck away from this guy right now. Like, yeah, get the fuck away from him. You know why Sasuke should get away from this dude? Tokage, you wanna know why? Let me point out the obvious. As I've already made a video of the reverse meaning of this freaking series, how Tokyo Ghoul Re is like a retelling of part 1, but it's like everything is reversed. Everything's kind of different or flipped. This right here, this is the torturer. This is the fucking torturer. This is the torturer for chapter 50-something. This dude right here, Tokage, is going to torture Sasuke and Kaneki. Going to torture him. It's already said and done. It's very obvious that's what's going to happen. This dude is going to fucking torture him. Or going to torture Mutsuki. One or the other. This dude is either going to torture Mutsuki or going to torture Sasuke. That's the only two options probably available at this moment. And it's probably going to happen somewhere around chapter 50 something or in the 60s. It's going to be one of those. And I'm kind of fucking scared because Sasuke, get the fuck away from this dude. Seriously, get away. Get your friends and everybody away from this guy. This dude is a psychopath. Like, I know Sasuke's not clearly all there in his mind to have split personalities, but still, this dude killing and torturing little animals. Said and done. And if you think about this situation, this dude is what gave Jason his habit of cracking his fingers. You know how Jason cracks his fingers? Jason got his habit from this dude. And it's funny how this dude gave Jason the finger cracking and then gave it to Kaneki and now Sasuke. So if you think about it, it's very weird how the finger cracking is like a technique passed on through the torturees. So it's fucked up. Very fucked up. But oh yeah, I want to point out something else. Chibi mentioned on Twitter to me. Now, I don't take credit for this one at all. Chibi just mentioned it, and I have to mention it. Apparently, this dude's name, Tokage, means lizard. And if you know about lizard, when a lizard's tail gets chopped off, it regrows, it escapes, and stuff like that. The lizard could be a representation of how the torturer, this dude, Tokage, gave his, like, new tail, or gave his new lizard part to Jason, and then Jason gave it to Kaneki. You get the point I'm getting at. So the lizard name, Tokage, is a form of symbolism. It symbolizes the representation of the relationship between Sasuke or Kaneki to this dude, Tokage. Now that I've got that out of the way, I can move into the final parts of this chapter. I want to get away from this fucking sick-ass bastard. Like, fucking disgusting. Disgusting. Let's get in the final part with Kanye and Chi. Oh, little cute little Chi. Little cute little fucking Chi. Woo! Okay, so the next part to get on to and start talking about is the Chi and Kanye part. Chi and Kanye meet in public at a restaurant that's called Sunflower. A sheet in them flowers. A sheet in them flowers. Like, you know, let me read the title of the shop, okay? Let me just read the title of the shop. The title of this restaurant that Chi, or the little mouse as Kanye calls him, is Girasol. And hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's apparently a name for sunflower. Who would have thought? A name for a fucking sunflower. Damn. Okay, so, Ashita, the flowers. Damn, what are you trying to imply with that sunflower? Okay, so, back on topic. You have it to where Chi and Kanye are having their little discussion. They're talking to each other, and Chi comes up with an idea of how to fix, you know, Shu in the situation he's at, because as we know, he's very depressed. He's not even there anymore. Like, he's pretty much gone. And so, in his desperation, Kanye is asking Chi, what should we do? And Chi comes up with this. This is what she says. It's extremely simple. You just have to tell him Kaneki's alive. Sounds pretty straightforward, I mean, yeah. And this is what, you know, Kanye says. Are you messing with me? That's something even I could come up with. I agree with that one. I mean, this is what she says. She says this. Not doing something after coming up with it is the same as just not coming up with it. I have to say I like that quote. I like that quote. I think I'm going to use that in the future. A very good quote from Chi. The more you know. And this is what she also says. You know why Tsukiyama ended up like that, right? What caused the change? Tell me. And then the next page, you see it to where this says, Kaneki Kin's death. To solve a problem, you have to get rid of the cause. For instance, get rid of the death of Kaneki Kin. It's just, this is a high-risk gamble. Now, this is Chi talking. Didn't I tell you the Tsukiyama family might disappear? Foreshadowing. I'll explain it in a second. When Tsukiyama first attacked Kaneki, he thought he was just a half-ghoul. But now he's a half-ghoul investigator. Depending on Tsukiyama's actions, his family might get on CCG's bad side. Now let's explain this. What this means and what this represents is that she is saying that depending on Tsukiyama's actions, his entire family could just be up for slaughter. Like, this is the point. Like, we're at a crossroad right now, or Shu's at a crossroad. Depending on the actions he takes, he will have to choose two choices. Tsukiyama family, or Kaneki Kin, or Sasuke. That's the path he has to choose. Save his family, or fuck his family, and save Kaneki. That is the path Shu is at this moment. If things go to shit. So, this is foreshadowing that maybe everybody's going to die besides Shu and his family. Okay. And if I think about it, remember the raid on Ogiri Tree? Like, you know, the Ogiri Tree arc? Around chapter 50, 60, and 70 and stuff? If you think about it, we might be getting into a raid against the Rosewald family arc. Because of that video reverse, doesn't it? Huh? So, anyways, next point to get at. Next page. Okay, this is what she says. Obviously, I'll cooperate with you so that it goes well. Tsukiyama has a lot of energy after all. We don't know what might happen, right? And then this is what she says. The way to help Tsukiyama is to make him regain his energy. But after he does, I don't know what will happen. What an irresponsible little mouse. That's what Kanye says. What are you that concerned? Why are you that concerned with Master Shu? Despite how I might seem, I'm really scared about dying. It's hard to think I'll disappear forever. So at the least, I want to die when I'm content about dying. So that's why I want to fill my my time with fun things. This right here, very powerful page. Let me explain. We get to dive into the psyche of Chi in this chapter. Like, this one page just dives into the psyche of Chi. And I like that so much because Chi is a mysterious character. She's shrouded in mystery. Not much is really known about Chi. Not a lot. Not a lot of information has been given. And this specific page lets us know quite a bit of how Chi actually thinks as a person. Let me explain. Connie asked the question, why are you that concerned with Master Shu? That is what Connie asked. And this is like me going out of my way saying this, okay? Let's say my friend broke his leg, okay? Let's say my best friend broke his leg is just snapped off. And all of a sudden, you have my friend, my other friend is beside me, and he's like, oh my, I want to go see him, is he okay? I mean, I would probably ask this, like, why are you so concerned about him if you don't even know him? I mean, like, why are you concerned about this person? And usually the general response you would get, like the normal response, would be this. Oh, it's because we have a history. I've known him for a long time. He's my best friend, and he helped me in the past. That's what friends are for. That is the normal general response of a person when they say, like, they're concerned about someone. And she did not do that normal response. And this, which shows kind of how fucked up she is. A little nutty. Like, let's explain. She says that she is really scared about dying. So she wants to have fun times before she dies, and she wants to choose how she dies, kind of. And so, in the act of this, she's more concerned of just herself, being very selfish. She's very selfish, but she's more concerned about herself having fun and then choosing how she dies instead of just ending up dying on the street or something. And so, yeah, right here, this page, I like it. Chi. I like your character. I like you, Chi. Very good little character. I love Chi. She's so awesome. So, Tsukiyama's a lot of fun, isn't he? That must be why. And that's what she says it ends the conversation off of. And then this is what Kanye replies with. Even a self-absorbed small creature like you can see and appreciate Master Shu's attractiveness. That's why it's frightening. And that is why I am frightened, because Chi is nutty. She didn't say the normal response. She did a response that was selfish, but still cared. And then we go into the next phase. The next phase is Chi delivers these envelopes and says, give these different pictures to Shu, Master Shu. Give these different pictures to him and let him see them in the different order I describe you to let him see. And in the act of this, you have to where Connie delivers the first picture. And in the picture, we see Sasaki. And then Shu turns around for the first time, crying down his face, and he says this, Kanye, tell me the details. Shu is beginning his reform. He is reblooming. It only will be a little longer now until he reblooms. I can't wait to see my boy Shu back in his harmony mode. Harmony! Okay, sorry. I had to get that out of my way. Woo! Okay, so I think that's about it for the chapter. I think I've covered everything. I think this review might be a little bit long. Please forgive me. I know it's long-winded. I don't know how many of you really cared to watch this far. I'm so damn sorry. I really am. When it comes to Tokyo Ghoul, I could just talk about it, and I need to, you know, get this information out there. Please forgive me for the long review. I'm sorry. And I hope some of you are still watching this video by the time you reach this part. So, yeah, it's been fun. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.